But it was basically a moment where the Trump administration had to be like, listen, guys, like, we're with you all the way, 100% of the way. But like, it's gotten to a point where like you're gonna lose everybody. You're gonna lose everybody if you keep the death and destruction. At least you can keep killing people during the peace process, but like it'll be sidelined. It won't be that big of a story if you just keep quietly assassinating people, and the mainstream media won't cover it as much. But then again, the whole point of the meeting today that's taking place is most likely to see how much more they can escalate conflict. How much more they can escalate the conflict in Gaza, like how much more they can intensely bomb Gaza and like overtake the rest of the Gaza Strip, I suspect. But also beyond that, I think it's more so to just like go and nuke Iran out of orbit. Dead on analysis, but why did Hamas agree to it? Out of options.
President Herzog, did you talk with him directly?
President Erdogan?
Herzog.
Out of options, and also too many civilians were slaughtered. They were running out of time. They were running out of hope. They were running out of options. They decided to stop the ethnic cleansing, knowing full well that there's no real like disarmament that's going to take place. Because like, what are they going to do? Take the small arms away from the Gaza Strip? They don't have like they don't have rocket. They don't have like actual missile launchers and shit. You know what I mean? You can't really like disarm this group. Also, the other Arab countries leaned in and pushed in that direction as well, and Turkey too.
Really help Israel through this horrible jam. You know, these are major factions, and it started with our negotiation with Iran. I think it probably started with Soleimani.
Listen to
that was really where you mentioned that today. We started with Soleimani. Bad guy, doing bad things, hurting a lot of people, killing American soldiers and other soldiers.
You know.
But it started right there would probably be the starting point.
When I touched
and
the
then
wall,
from that point forward, but you have a wartime prime minister at the highest level. There could be other wartime prime ministers, but they'd lose.
Wartime.
He won. And I think the people of Israel appreciate it. I think a lot of the people in the world appreciate it, actually. And because of that victory, we were able to get peace in the Middle East.
America appreciate
if you had a different kind of a personality, if you had a weak person or a stupid person, and there are plenty of both of them, you would not have had success, and you might not have Israel. And you report for Israel. I know you're very proud of it, and you do a great job. You might not have a job because there might not be an Israel right now if you had a different prime minister.
Oh,
that's a big statement, but to me, it's a very simple statement to make. I'm looking at Pete Hegseth, and he's sort of nodding.
Imagine
if they don't have a strong prime minister, Pete, you might not have Israel today. I think he'll go down in the record books. And, you know, I was a big help. I'll be honest with you, big help. Somebody said in the room, if you don't have Trump, you needed a proper combination of everything. And if you didn't have that combination, which they had, you would not have an existing Israel right now. And the people of Israel know it. That's why they like me, and it's why they actually like him. He's got a little bit of a love-hate more than I do over there. But you know what? Even the haters have a lot of respect for him. There's a lot of jealousy about him, a lot of jealousy.
Point of understanding regarding Syria.
We do have an understanding regarding Syria. Now, with Syria, you know, your new president, I respect him. He's a very strong guy, and that's what you need in Syria. You can't put a choir boy. You can't put somebody that's a perfect person. Everything's nice, no problems in life. You have the opposite there. He's a strong guy. We get along with him great. I can't ask for any more. He's been with us all the way. We had that mishap with ISIS, and he was with us all the way. He was fighting us. You know, he was fighting them. So I hope Israel. I'm sure that Israel and him will get along. I will try and make it so that they do get along. I think they will. Bibi, do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah. Well, our interest is to have a peaceful border with Syria. Our interest is to have, and we openly say it, we want to make sure that the border area right next to our border is safe. We don't have terrorists, we don't have attacks, and we also want to secure our Druze friends. And by the way, I think not only the Druze, but other minorities, especially the Christians, should be protected as well. in Syria and throughout the Middle East and in Nigeria. In your efforts, we back completely because Christian communities are beleaguered around the world and especially in the Middle East, but in parts of Africa too.
Yeah, especially in the Middle East, like the Christian Palestinians, Bibi.
Don't
The
forget, it was President Erdogan that helped very much get rid of a very bad ruler of Syria. That was President Erdogan. And he never wanted the credit for it, but he really gets a lot of credit. Bibi agrees with that. I agree with. I mean, I know it.
Yeah, notice that they
And,
just
President
never.
Erdogan should get a
Obviously,
lot of
there's
good
no
credit
safety and
for
security
what
for the
he did. He
Muslims.
got
That's not a
rid
thing.
of some very bad people, and they've been wanting to do that for 1,000 years with different names, but for 1,000 years in Syria, President Erdogan did it, and we give him a lot of credit. I give him a lot of credit.
The terms of the ceasefire agreement has failed to disarm Hezbollah, actually. In your view, should Israel strike the terrorist organization again?
Well, we're going to see about that. We'll see about it. The Lebanese government is at a little bit of a disadvantage, if you think of it, with Hezbollah. But Hezbollah has been behaving badly, so we'll see what happens.
Oh God.
And if you don't see Hamas disarm in that short amount of time that you're giving them, can you tell us what the
You
next
look like
steps
you have
would
mad
be?
hemorrhoids. What is that?
Horrible
What?
for
How?
them.
What is the specific look
Horrible.
to having a hemorrhoid?
It's going to be really, really bad for them. And I don't.
I've
want
never
that to
heard that
happen.
one before. That's
But
a
they
new
made
one.
an agreement that they were going to disarm, and you couldn't blame Israel. By the way, we have other countries that will come in and do it. They said, "Let us do it for you." If they don't, countries that were with them wanted the deal to be made, agreed that they would disarm, and now if they say they're going to disarm, that's fine. If they say they're not going to disarm, those same countries will go and wipe them out. They don't even need Israel. We have many countries, 59 countries that are in agreement. This is a real peace in the Middle East. And Hamas is a small part of it, but it's still a part of it. But we have 59 countries that signed on, big countries, countries that are outside of the Middle East, as you know the Middle East. They want to go in and wipe out Hamas. They don't want Israel. They don't need Israel. They want to do it because it's the right thing to do, because they were for the deal based on the fact that Hamas pledged, they swore that they were going to disarm. Now, if they're not going to disarm, those same countries will wipe out Hamas. Yeah.
President Trump, do you think that the PA should be involved in the day after in Gaza Strip, even in the near future? And the same question to Prime Minister Netanyahu. Do you see a real opportunity that the PA will be in Gaza?
Go ahead, Bibi.
I think President Trump put clearly the conditions of reform that he wants to see in the PA for them to be involved. And I think he put it very clearly what he wants to see, the kind of real reforms, not just perfunctory reforms, but real reforms. Stop pay to slay, change the curriculum in your textbooks, open up
Dog,
different
you need
society.
denazification. Israel needs the actual reforms. The are we talking about, man? Why is
And all of
U.S.
a
so
sudden,
public with
Iran had the
Israel?
whole Middle
Brother,
East
you know
open.
what it's like?
But that's
You know
not
when you
true
have like
anymore. That's not true anymore.
let me think. Who's like a celebrity that's like a serial abuser, right?
To expand Abraham
When you have like a celebrity that's like a serial abuser, that's like a really bad person, but then they still keep getting jobs and they still keep getting brought on, and then people inevitably just like lose sight of that. A lot of people are saying Chris Brown, sure, right? People keep putting him on.
They'll be expanded.
This is basically what the United States of America is doing with Israel, because the United States of America is putting its arms around Israel because it's the most dominant country on the planet.
Saudi Arabia is great. We have a great leader.
That's the reason why they keep openly posturing this way. That's the reason why they keep flexing their relationship over and over and over again. The reason why they're doing that is so that, everybody else understands
Saudi Arabia is
that Israel is under the protectorate of the United States of America. They can do whatever the they want. It doesn't matter if you don't like that they've done a genocide. It doesn't matter if you don't appreciate the way they conduct themselves. None of it matters, because the big dog in the room is attached at the hip to Israel. And that's precisely what's happening here. They don't care. They don't care about like, oh, the negative PR or whatever. They don't give a shit. It's America. What are you going to do?
But in the meantime, we're doing numbers that nobody's ever seen. We
What
have
are
$18
Americans going to
trillion
do?
coming
Right?
in. We had a
It's not like we can do anything about it. What can we do about it as Americans? We have a lot of distaste for this. We have a lot of anger and resentment for this kind of thing. And yet, nothing changes.
He's doing a renovation of a
Like,
building.
everything that they're doing
He's up to 4.1
reads to me like they're just basically flexing the power that they have, the control that they have. I mean, think about it. The past
It's the
2
highest
weeks
price
of
in the
news
history of
coverage,
construction.
the past 2 weeks of news coverage revolved around Jeffrey Epstein and Trump's administration directly, Trump's DOJ directly defending co-conspirators, hiding their names. And it doesn't even matter. Like, we have a pedophile protectorate in the White House. Nothing matters. He's stealing oil from countries that we've declared foreign adversaries, potentially seeking to invade random Latin American countries, right? None of it matters. The economy is dog shit, and it still doesn't matter. Everyone is so locked in on the slop that they're consuming in the mere moments that they have to themselves. And the moments that they have to themselves where they're not actually worried about, you know, their financial troubles and making sure that they still have a roof over their heads or a hot meal in front of them. They're just invested in the slop. It's too difficult for people to just tune in to exactly who is ruining their lives, to figure out who's exactly ruining their lives. Even if the people that are ruining their lives are doing it out in broad daylight, openly stating it, openly saying, what are you going to do about it? Now, I don't know if things will change. I think there could come a point where, at least if the economy is really bad, if it gets to a point where it's so bad that people are genuinely suffering, like Great Depression style, because we're not there yet. The wealth disparity leading up to the Great Depression was not as bad as the wealth disparity that exists now. Having said that, for the poorest Americans and for the middle class Americans, they are not as they're not suffering as bad as they were during the Great Depression. And I think if they got there, if it got to that point, and it potentially could, then you would see some real revolts. And I don't know if those revolts would be directed at those in positions of power or directed at random people and groups, like minority groups that have no power whatsoever but have been vilified endlessly by this administration and by the right-wing propaganda over and over again. But basically, things are still nowhere near as bad, I think. They're not bad enough, rather, for people to actually revolt and rise up. Here's a great example of this, right? Here's a great example of this. Donald Trump is a open fraudster, right? We know he is. We know he doesn't pay his taxes. We know he doesn't pay his contractors. We know that he is currently using the executive office to cut deals for himself, right? To the tune of billions of dollars, as a matter of fact. He's done cryptocurrency schemes. And yet a lot of people, even liberals, like, they get mad at that, but they don't get mad at that much. But the very same institutions that are also actively stealing money from Americans' pockets, people like Elon Musk that actually came to power, not elected, mind you, but appointed to a seat of power specifically to fire people at the federal government, are running around hyping up the narrative that, like, every Somali in America is actively robbing the welfare coffers blind, pointing to a real instance of corruption and a real instance of welfare fraud to drive home this narrative that actually it's not the wealthy guys you got to worry about, it's the Somalis. And Americans immediately
Attention. Terminus 3 is setting course in 5 minutes.
Last question of this interview, Mr. Desos. Do you fully understand the risks of being a traitor? The age we live in is chaotic.
Can I have another bottle, Miss Clara? I know the talk. The Empire's crumbling, the galaxy's going dark, blah blah. Just as Dr. Selden predicted with his psychohistory. But I see opportunities. Opportunities for profit. It's a wild market. Everything's got a price. opportunities for treasure. Relics scattered across the stars, waiting to be claimed. And opportunities for legacy. Wherever darkness rises, someone fights back. Worst age to live in. Also the best.
Mr. Desos?